Bonjour, mon amis. Welcome to Montreal.
What's up, guys? Today is the day. I am on my way to Montreal.
I'm going to Montreal for the 2022 Formula One Grand Prix. I'm very excited. I've never been to Montreal or the race there before.
You guys have no idea how excited I am. I've always wanted to see a race. Oh my God, I can't. I'm like a kid right now. I cannot wait.
We're actually driving, although we live nowhere close to Montreal. So let's hit the road.
And we are off. 4:24 in the morning. We're headed to Montreal for F1, Formula One.
I had a great weekend. I went up to Montreal for my first Formula One race, which I have to tell you, lived up to the hype.
Few places embrace their Grand Prix as enthusiastically as Canada. Situated on a man-made island built for the 1967 World Expo Fair on the outskirts of Montreal, the 4.36-kilometre Circuit Ile Notre-Dame hosted its first race in 1978, where local hero Gilles Villeneuve won his first Grand Prix. Following his tragic death in 1982, the track was renamed in his honour and has since hosted many dramatic moments.
The first race here was hosted in 1978 and it quickly became established as a real favourite with the fans. It's an easy place to get to Montreal, wherever you are in Canada, and also from the car-mad East Coast, particularly New York.
We're from Pennsylvania.
I'm from Montreal.
I'm from Scotland.
We are from Romania.
Montreal! Oh, Middle Grove, New York.
Go Vancouver!
Toronto!
Seattle! Halifax!
I love Montreal because the atmosphere is always great.
The circuit is very, very special.
It's like a Christmas season for us.
Love it. Fabulous city, fabulous race. Always great to come back to.
Oh, it is so awesome. It is unbelievable.
This city is very well known by all of our team members for being a great city to come to. And I think everybody has their different reasons for that.
Even like just walking past these like cool buildings and seeing all this art inside and even like the architecture, it's pretty cool.
I just like the buzz in the city. Montreal is such an incredible metropolitan town, and this time of year, like, it's just, the place is on fire. Like, look at the crowds, look at the energy it brings to the city. So I'm up here as much for the event itself as I am for the racing, but it's just, you can't beat it.
Everybody's happy Grand Prix weekend. And I have so many people that came for Grand Prix and then they come back for the Jazz Fest or Comedy Fest because they love it.
The Canadian Grand Prix just has a great vibe about it. You really feel like Formula One belongs here.
It's always great. The fans here are brilliant. The race here is usually fantastic.
Epic atmosphere.
I actually got goosebumps listening to the support from the crowd.
This is the race that I look forward to the most every season. Also, this circuit is on its own island, which I think is just super unique.
Montreal is one of the most exciting races of the year. It's often one I have either my parents or friends come to. It's this tiny little island on the edge of the city that always provides great racing. It's where I got my first pole position, my first win. It's one of my favorite races.
We often get unpredictable Grand Prix here in Montreal, and over the years there have been some absolutely classic moments.
I think this track can be considered a classic. I certainly do. I think it is a staple on the F1 calendar, one that I really want to see remain on the calendar forever.
One thing we can expect is a long and proud future here in Montreal. Based on a new contract, they're going to invest in new facilities. So we'll continue to enjoy the magic of Montreal for many years to come.
I think it has a little bit of everything. Long straights, it's got a little bit of elevation. It has tight, twisty sections which will really see drivers kind of flick the car in and out of. I mean, it's extremely satisfying to watch. It's just one of those tracks that just looks like it really suits a Formula One car. It's also got a big old hairpin, which is always good to see on a racetrack. And who can forget the Wall of Champions? It is the notorious section of the racetrack, the most iconic and famous part of this particular circuit.
The exit of the chicane just before the start-finish straight became known as the Wall of Champions after Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher and Jacques Villeneuve all crashed there in 1999.
1999, the infamous Wall of Champions Grand Prix. That race was also the first in Formula One history to finish behind the safety car after a huge late accident for Heinz-Harald Frentzen at turn 3.
The layout of the first sequence of corners has led to a number of accidents at the start, great overtakes, and even some synchronized spins. The 2.7-mile circuit has also witnessed many maiden wins. Thierry Boutsen in 1989 and Jean Alesi in 1995.
2007, Lewis Hamilton took a maiden pole position and race victory on his first ever visit to Montreal.
Lewis Hamilton, who takes his first F1 win and only his 6th Grand Prix.
Well done! Though the race is perhaps better remembered for Robert Kubica's spectacular accident on the exit of Turn 10.
Have you seen the accident on TV?
Well, yeah, I have seen it also live when I was there.
Miraculously and thankfully, Kubica walked away from that accident. And amazingly, he came back the following year and won the Canadian Grand Prix.
Robert, bravo, bravissimo, bravissimo. That's an historical win.
And with changeable weather, the chances of seeing a safety car are high, with the rain-delayed 2011 race holding the record for the most ever deployed during a Grand Prix with 6. And look out for wildlife too, with foxes, squirrels and groundhogs often claiming the best seats in the house to watch one of Formula One's most vibrant and popular races.
We've been asking you to vote for your favourite Canadian Grand Prix, and the results are in. 2011, with Jenson Button taking the lead on the last lap from Sebastian Vettel.
Jenson Button's win from last place in 2011, hunting down and passing Sebastian Vettel with just half a lap to go.
The 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, which saw Jenson Button start 7th, get a drive-through penalty, and then still win the race.
Canada 2011, a race many referred to as the best of the century, and what I referred to as the craziest race of all time.
The race was suspended for 2 hours on lap 26 as a thunderstorm pelted the circuit. Drivers tried to remain focused. Crew members stared alternately at the clouds and at the ticking clocks. Formula One had never seen anything like this.
Crazy conditions, the race went for so long. It was the longest F1 race in history. It went for so long that the rules had to be changed. It is often regarded as the greatest Formula One race of all time.
Too busy watching his mirrors, Sebastian made a critical error on the last lap, running wide into the damp section of the Montreal track. Jenson sliced through to score the win of his career and to establish this Canadian Grand Prix as one of the all-time classics.
That was a hell of a race! A hell of a race!
We will never see a race like it again. It will forever hold the record as the World Championship's longest race.
I think it just shows that you should never give up in this sport. Everything went wrong up until when I won the race.
Today we're going around the circuit in the middle of the city. When it's not being used for racing and F1s, then it's open to the public.
This is the Formula One track, right here. This is like turn 7 or 8, and you just get to go on it. I'm just gonna ride my bike around it, pretend I'm Lewis Hamilton. This is so cool. I'm excited for this, let's do it.
For those who don't know, Saint-Pierre-du-Mont was originally, the entire island was used for the 1967 World's Fair and the 1976 Olympics. So there are still some remnants of the Olympics and the World's Fair that are still on the island. And it's cool to see the combination of all of those parts of Montreal's history combined into the racetrack.
You can see they've got some unique structures on this island, because that's what this is.
It does look beautiful, I think. I saw there's like a swimming area.
The biosphere had been the United States Pavilion.
Like we talk about the Casino Strait, the casino was actually France's World's Fair building.
This is where the Canadian Formula One races take place, and I'm trying to figure out which parts I can walk on. One place that I want to see is the Pit Straight and the Wall of Champions, which is right beside it.
So cool, like this is the hairpin. This is the slowest hairpin outside of Monaco. There've been so many like significant crashes right here over the years.
I am here at the infamous Wall of Champions. And that's why it's called the Wall of Champions, because only champions hit this piece of wall. Now we're about to go down the pit straight.
There's the pit lane.
This is pole position right here. So cool.
Bienvenue, à Montreal. And to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, which is looking a little different to normal. Check that out. The new pit lane and paddock complex, which they've built in 9 months. 9 months! It's an astonishing achievement, and it looks beautiful.
So we walked to the island. Turns out 2 weeks from now is going to be the Formula One race.
It's race day here in Montreal. Oh, Canada, oh boy, are we excited for this. It's the 51st World Championship Canadian Grand Prix and the 41st to take place here on the banks of the St. Lawrence River. And the track, well, we've missed it. We're so glad to be back.
It's finally a race day again in Montreal. Not since 2019 has there been a Grand Prix, all due to the pandemic, but things are getting back to normal. And while the race might be happening at the track, the energy is still unmatched in downtown Montreal.
So we've been away for 2 years. So now obviously everybody's excited on being back.
There's a buzz in the air right now.
The city itself turns into this racing paradise. The streets are blocked off, pop-up shops open, cars, supercars fill the streets, checkered flags are put on the flagpole.
Yeah, everywhere.
They have literally a stairs of Lamborghinis going all the way down the street.
I don't know how to explain it. Like the cars, just seeing the cars alone was like seeing a celebrity to me. Like, oh, that's a Ferrari. That's the Mercedes team. It was It was just an incredible experience.
Supposedly we're all waiting for Checo here, but I don't know.
This is one that the team's really been looking forward to because it's not only in Canada, but it's also one of my favorite cities to visit, Montreal. It was fun to be able to check out the city because everything is walking distance and wherever you go, there's something to see or eat.
Montreal's a great place to walk, lots of cathedrals throughout the city. We stay on the north side of the city and I like to run up to the Mount Royal Park.
It's good for training, the run's fun. You run through the park, there's lots of squirrels and stuff.
Pretty tiring, but then, with the view, it's really nice.
Love the port, love the pedestrian area down there. So many great restaurants over there as well. The Keg is one of my favorites.
A really good place here, which is quite famous anyways, Schwartz's Deli. If we have a good result, it's really good to celebrate on the rooftop bar. There's a beautiful view of the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Guys, we just got done breakfast. Now we are on our way to the track.
Yeah. After breakfast, it was time to head to the track, and as we drove by the bridge, you can see just the amount of people who are here for this event. I believe the attendance was over 300,000 throughout the weekend.
You pumped, Dog? Oh
yeah.
You excited?
Adventure phase 2.
Phase 2.
The subway.
Day 3. Race day.
I'm super freaking excited. I was only supposed to show up for qualies, but the craziest thing happened on my flight over to Canada from LAX. The dude I was sitting next to was in his F1 garb, and when he found out that I was only going qualies, he's like, wait, I have an extra ticket. Do you want to go race day? Yes, I would love to go race day. Excuse me?
Welcome to F1. We're heading in. Let's go.
Crazy. You can see the globe thing behind me and you know it from the pictures, but track is just over there that way.
We have arrived. Where do we even start?
We made it to the track. It's already busy.
This is where we wanted to be.
Okay. This is sick.
To get to the paddock, there are some small boats that drive you along the lake that surround the track, and you can see all of the drivers' cars parked across the street. And as you pass the paddock, you can also see the grandstands in the distance that are wrapped around the corner of turn 1.
This is like the most random paddock entrance ever.
We get there, we park, then you take a little boat over, and I don't know, it was crazy.
After watching Formula 1 on TV, the Drive to Survive series on Netflix, and seeing the behind-the-scenes aspect to it, as soon as it was time to go into the paddock, there was a ton of familiar faces.
Look at the car. You're gonna win it this year.
Aside from seeing the drivers walking around, another aspect that was super cool was just seeing how all of these teams operate. It was like being a kid at a candy store, and some of you actually mentioned that you saw me walking around the paddock in some of the worldwide stream.
So here we go then, the Canadian Grand Prix returns to the Formula 1 calendar. It's lights out and away we go, and Max Verstappen gets the better start from Fernando Alonso, and Lewis Hamilton away quickly too.
It's lights out in Montreal! Oh, we're just a new boy. Here they come. Yeah!
We had these sick-ass passes, and we had just under Illuminati level seats. So we're sitting, if you watch a replay of the race, right when they come out of the pit, you know, to rejoin the race, right where they hit the acceleration, right where they take off was where we were sitting. Every time you think you're in the best place you could watch it, you find out there's another more air-conditioned area.
So by the first few laps, there was already a few virtual safety cars and one engine failure. And for much of the race, Carlos Sainz was trying to chase down Max Verstappen, who started at pole and actually got very close on a few instances right in front of us at turn 1.
It's a Canadian Grand Prix that unless Carlos Sainz can do something about it now, it's going to go Red Bull's way. So maybe Max Verstappen can just start to relax. For the first time, he sees the checkered flag and will know what it's like to win the Canadian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen comes home in first place. Carlos Sainz pushed him all the way and takes a 5th second place in his career. And it's Lewis Hamilton back on the podium once more for Mercedes.
How you going, Montreal? We've had such an awesome crowd here this weekend. Second podium of the year, so this feels really special, especially in where I got my first Grand Prix win. I love it here in Montreal, so big thank you to all the Canadians.
From the second the race was over, you could see all the fans pouring onto the track to be able to see the podium.
And Lewis comes out with another bottle of champagne. He sprays it on his team and then sort of whipped around in our direction. And we actually got hit with the champagne from Lewis Hamilton. That's how close we were. So I don't know how to ever top that experience.
I have no words. That was absolutely insane.
Well, boys, how was the race? Amazing. Best of your life? I hate this place.
I really hope I was able to convey how fun today was. This video is so cool.
So being the second Formula 1 race I attended, there couldn't have been a better place. Quebec is easily one of my favorite places to visit. And compared to Miami, even though that was a great first race in the US, it was interesting to see the passion in Montreal because races have been taking place there for so many years now.
This is a race that starts at 4 AM Melbourne time, and that doesn't even faze me at all. It is worth it every single time. If I could choose one race to go to, it would definitely be the Canadian Grand Prix. I feel like the Formula 1 calendar isn't the same without the Canadian Grand Prix on it.
I had the time of my life this weekend in Canada. It was so much fun, a dream come true.
I had such a fucking great time. And that really is one of the great cities that I've ever been to. I love that place. I wish I had more time to spend there.
Merci Montreal. Je t'aime.